This is my best kind of show notes because we didn't touch one of them, not even one of them. I'm not sure which one is Paul Rudd and which one is Lane Green.
Final card here is the ultimate outcome.
Today is Take Your Dog to Work Day.
Oh, like Scooby-Doo.
Yeah. Without further ado, his debut.
Sweet Caroline.
Everybody say hello to Sammy. Is it not good?
I'm just pausing so that you just are at the front of your screen.
I'm so enormously flattered.
Branding is not a bad blind date.
I'm gonna have to take a picture of this.
No, this is agape. This is love.
I really enjoyed this. You did do your homework. You asked great questions.
I'm flattered. Thank you. You just made my day.
Look at you! You are insane.
How did I do that?
You're
how
insane.
Did I do that?
You're insane.
Well, hello, everybody. It is Tuesday, and it is time for CoronaTV. It is time to laugh. It's time to laugh so much you cry. It's time to laugh because if you don't laugh, you're going to cry. It's time to understand the power of laughter and the power of comedy and the power of humor. And as they often say, there's always truth in everything, but there is going to be a lot of truth, as there always is in CoronaTV. Hello, Mom, who's watching. You better stay watching because, as you know, well, you know why you should stay watching. But more on that later. For now, it's time to move through a lot of things that we got to get through. Obviously, I took a break on Labor Day, and well, we'll talk about Jane in a moment. We've got Jeff on Wednesday, Jeremiah on Thursday, Murray Nossel on Friday. It's going to be a fantastic week. Of course, it's always a fantastic week when I have you right by my side. I want to go backwards a little bit quickly. On Friday, we had episode 2 of The People Formerly Known as The Audience. What I love about this is actually a clip. This is actually a screenshot of 10 of us. I'd never done an episode with 10 people on the screen at the same time. It worked beautifully. The conversation was more beautiful because the people are so beautiful. And we went from everything from, well, you know, I'll talk about it in the soliloquy and you'll get a sense as to what I mean. But that was on Friday. Today is Jane Condon. She's a comedian. She's a speaker. She's a host. She is a fellow nutmeg steak. I don't know if that's Freudian or not. State resident, and she's wonderful, and she's going to be my guest shortly. But first of all, happy National Ampersand Day. I love the fact that it is Ampersand Day because so much of what CoronaTV is about the end. It's never about the extremes. It's never about the or. It's always about balance and equilibrium and finding the happy medium. Well, it's National Ampersand Day. It's also National Physical Therapy Day. And those of you that follow me on Facebook, Jane and I are going to talk about the race to 5,000. I injured myself on the weekend. I mean, I worked out that I had run in the first 4 months of the pandemic further distance than I'd driven a car. And it has been my mental, colonic. It has been my cleanse. It has been my relaxation. It's been my meditation running. And then something tweaked over the weekend. I thought it was my hip. It seems to have spread to my glute. And if you don't know what a glute is, you can look it up. I might be going to physical therapy, but also I put on weight. Now, whether that is psychological or psychosomatic, I don't know, but this is the heaviest probably I've weighed in a while. I'm still 17 pounds down for 2020, but, fat blogging necessitates that I have to share this with you, and that is exactly what I did. I'm sure it will be better next week. I hope it will be. It may have to be without exercise, and that is a mental hurdle or a new challenge that I will have to overcome. Well, let's go through birthdays. There are a lot of them because of Labor Day. So happy Facebook birthday for those who celebrated on September the 6th. Now, a lot of people celebrated on the 6th, but one person in particular that celebrated on the 6th is my mother. Happy birthday, Mommy. Happy birthday, Momsies. That is a cake that we made with some champagne, and we did a whole Zoom for her. But you know what? I feel like I can do one more thing for her. Mom, if you're watching, and I think you are watching, do you remember way back when an actor, I should say, by the name of Morgan Fairchild from Falcon Crest and early days of Dallas? Well, anyway, she sent this in for you.
Hi, Natalie. This is Morgan Fairchild, and your son Joseph has asked me to send you a very happy birthday. I hear you turned 77. Got a little on me, but not that much, honey. And he just wants you to know that you are loved, and he appreciates everything you've done. He says, oh my God, that you've been on your own, lost your husband 45 years ago, and raised 3 kids all on your own. That's tough, and that's great. And he says you love Falcon Crest and champagne. And wants to wish you a very, very happy birthday. I'm afraid I may have missed it because he says it was the 6th, and now it's the 7th here. I'm not sure where it is in South Africa, but anyway, happy birthday from Joseph, Jopush, and to his momsies. And forgive me, I'm going to sing to you. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, dear Natalie, momsies. Happy birthday to you, and many more. You know, I hope you have a wonderful birthday. I hope it was great. I know it's hard being away from the people that you love. But hopefully this COVID will be over and you guys get to see each other sooner rather than later. And I'm just sending you lots and lots of love for a happy birthday, and I hope you got lots of champagne, and if there's any left over, have it today. Sending you love, hugs and kisses. Happy birthday, honey. Mwah.
Well, that is the goddamn best message that I've ever seen. And the people that are watching in the background, Jane is smiling. Yeah, happy birthday, Mom. And I hope you like it. I will send you the file so you can share it on the social medias and do whatever you need to. You are most welcome, Momsies. But now enough about you. We have to get into all the other birthdays, the birthdays on Labor Day. By the way, Sydney Williams responded to my little post and he said, well, it would be great if you could tell people about my new novel, Fool's Run, now available for pre-order. And I said, well, yeah, I'll do it. In fact, I just did. And we're going to skim through the rest of them, except for the fact it's Bob Farnham's son's Jake's birthday today. And okay, Bob, it's Bernie Sanders as well. Happy birthday, Bernie. Happy Joe. Oh, what? I don't know if this is meant to be a happy birthday or not, but anyway, happy birthday, Bernie. And then, of course, to all the people on LinkedIn, I apologize for flying through it because it is time to get to the seated soliloquy. And today's seated soliloquy is all about humor, of course. I mean, you know, that I've got Jane on the show. You know, as I was saying earlier, on last week's show and last week's show on Friday that I alluded to at the beginning, it was a community-powered episode. We covered the following: truth, unity, beauty, goodness, sustainability, energy, momentum, randomness, the end of serendipity, simplicity, embracing the middle, loneliness, mental health, and suicide. And that was just in the first 5 minutes. See what I did just there, just right there? I injected some levity into what was a somber and unbelievably meaningful and powerful conversation about the real impact of not just COVID on all of our lives, but also the continued pressure of racial injustice, gender inequality, a divided states of America, and the upcoming shit show of what will be an unprecedented election. In the aforementioned show, one of our special guests had personally experienced suicide, not once, but twice in her life, and we all gave her a real virtual hug. The episode ended with a discussion on Bret the Hitman Hart and how he set out to be the best fake wrestler in the world. In a way, the show was a microcosm of our lives today. The highs are super high, the lows are super low. And what makes it even more insane is how we soar or dive from one to the other within milliseconds and then boomerang back just as quickly. It requires a new kind of constitution, and probably the best way to avoid getting seasick at the constant motion is to simulate riding a roller coaster 10 times in a row, all while socially distanced, of course. Now, amidst all of this manic frenzy is a clear role for humor. Humor is the counterbalance to a rigid seriousness, an intensity or a fervor that is impossible to sustain and, quite frankly, counterproductive to even attempt. Self-deprecation, irreverence, hell, even a little bit of immaturity is needed and even welcomed just right about now. And by the way, you're in good hands with me when it comes to immaturity. Comedians have such an important role to play. You could almost say a responsibility or an obligation to perform their magic for us, and in so doing, help us escape for just a brief moment from the runaway train that is 2020. So cue the laugh track right about now. Well, now it's time to have a real comedian that is an artist, a craftsman, and someone that I think is going to make you feel better, especially if you've been going through a tough time. And that, of course, is Jane Condon. Let me give you a little bit of a background on her. Jane Condon lives in Greenwich, Connecticut, but she's still a nice person. And that's her line, by the way, not mine. If you hadn't guessed already, she's a damn good comedian. Let me give you a quote. Condon had the audience crackling, guffawing, and in hysterics as she sliced through marriage, husband, kids, politics, and other topics. Sounds like our community show. And that was the New York Times, which proves clearly it's not fake news. She has appeared on shows like Last Comic Standing and won the Spirit Award from Ladies of Laughter for helping women in comedy, which she shares with Carol Burnett. And between Jane and myself, we think she's going to make it. Not Jane, of course, but Carol Burnett. So without further ado, I'm going to bring her onto the show, but I'm going to introduce her with this clip.
All right, folks, keep clapping with all the energy you have for Jane Condon. I have two boys. They like to listen to the rap music. I mean, guys, we live in Greenwich, Connecticut. How ghetto can you and your J. Crew shirts get? When I'm in my kitchen, I like to listen to real music. Aretha, Tina Turner, Billy Joel, yeah. When the kids come in, they take out my CD, they put in their CD, and all of a sudden it's, is it worth it? Let me work it. Put your thing down. I'm making a salad. Thank you. Thank you.
One audience favorite winner of $1,000 and a no-hassle pass to the next round is Jane Condon.
I just wanted to kiss every one of them. I know this is what I was meant to do. And I think I'm not bad.
Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. Thank you for taking me back. I love the idea of CoronaTV, and also that you're doing inspirational things right now, because that show I tried out for 4 times before I got on it. And I had to, they announced that the open auditions would be on Wednesday. On Tuesday, a friend called, and it's good to have friends in any business. And she said, Jane, they're already lining up. So I was online at 7 o'clock the night before. I slept overnight in my car, got up at 5 a.m. We got online. They saw me at 11 a.m. And they said, come back that night. I went home and I ironed my shirt. And I did okay. I won audience favorite in New York, which is, I think if you do almost any job long enough, sometimes God says, it's your turn. And that was sort of a magical night for me. It was great to win audience favorite New York. New York is a lot of very good comedians. So. And
I'm sure intense, cutthroat, passionate, impassioned.
No. Well,
a little bit.
We're pretty much a tribe. I say there are two kinds of comedians: the neurotic ones and the psychotic ones. And I just don't hang out with the psychotic ones anymore. But I love the neurotic ones. And most comedians, when I hear about diversity and inclusion right now, I was thinking, in my profession, we've always had a lot of diversity, young or old, any ethnicity, male or female. If you could make people laugh, then and also with most comedians, there's a great pain somewhere in the background. And if you scratch the surface, you'll find it pretty quickly.
And obviously your great pain is living in Greenwich, Connecticut, which I think we'll get to later. I feel you. I feel for you. Says the guy who lives in Westport, Connecticut, of course.
Yeah. Listen, you're not too shabby over in Westport, I don't think. Anyway, that's a great place to live too. You have a lot of artists there. I kind of envy you.
It's, you know what, part of, I mean, I honestly say this, we talk a lot about mental health and wellness, and without getting, too dark or too deep, I will say that had I not been able to run outside in this beautiful Fairfield County, I don't know that, and Corona TV, I don't think it's a stretch to say it saved me. I don't want to say it saved my life, but it saved me.
I totally agree with you. Community is very important right now, and connecting. And that's why I started that show, 4 O'Clock Funnies. It's like being in a sandbox with my girlfriends every Thursday. And that's just delightful. And I also take a lot of long walks. It's just.
Well, we're going to talk about a lot of things, and and I love what you're doing as well with the 4 O'Clock Funnies. I'm going to be putting up lots of ways to connect with Jane and be connected with her, because she's someone that you want to be connected with. We're going to do a lot of fun things today as well. Before we do, I just wanted to get into something, that I saw in that clip, in that intro, and you said, this is what I was meant to do. I think it must be incredible for people in life to be able to say, I've found my purpose. For me, I've told people, I think this is Corona TV. It is my purpose in life, and I found it in a global pandemic. So I guess I have 2 questions. You can tackle each one or choose which one. The one is talk about that moment, when that aha moment when you knew this is what you wanted to do for the rest of your life. And then the second part of that is, do you think that everyone in this world has that aha or that purpose moment? Or do you think that maybe just people like you and me in this particular case, we are the fortunate few?
I think if you search hard enough, you'll find it. We used to live in Japan for 5 years. Japanese call it ikigai, your sense of purpose in life. And I didn't find mine. I'm actually a late bloomer. I didn't find mine until I was 37. And which is kind of late to start comedy. I definitely couldn't do the colleges. I'd sort of aged out of it. But to find your passion in life is a real gift. And my job is basically to make people forget for half an hour. That's all, and it's really fun. I will do this until I die. Or the day before. I might take a day off.
Especially, I mean, you got to get your affairs in order and probably go and have a couple of steak meals, etc. So let me look at the comment. Oh, Sydney Williams, I guess, was watching. So he thanked me for the plug. It's always funny, sometimes I do these birthday greetings and people think, that it's so impersonal. But anyone that responds to me, I respond to them immediately. And Amy said, shut the front door. You got Morgan Fairchild for your mom. You're making the rest of us look bad, real bad. You know what? There's nothing I wouldn't do for my mother, of course. I mean, that's what we got to do. Chip said, hang in there. I joined late and didn't hear injury details, but you'll overcome it. Well, I haven't put on that much weight, Ted. The thing is, I could sense the mental shift. I could sense suddenly when the lever of running, the release of running for 2 to 3 weeks, 2 to 3 times a week was taken away. Suddenly I almost felt like imbalanced, like I didn't have that grounding, but I'll figure it out because, I mean, people have got it way, way, way worse. And I don't have to tell anyone out there that as well. Okay, Jane, let's find out a little bit, this is your life, Jane Condon. And so a couple of fun facts. Look, your life is a fun fact, is a beautiful fun fact, but there are 2 that we'll share with people today. One is apparently you were a chain smoker in the 5th grade. I don't even know what that means, but please explain to me.
I'm sorry, that's such a funny picture.
That's why they pay me the big bucks, all this Photoshop.
I'm so embarrassed. The thing was, I'm the youngest of 4, so I was kind of unsupervised. So I would sit down in the basement watching the Flintstones on TV, and I would have, I was not allowed to have Coca-Cola, which is why I'm addicted to Diet Coke now. I could have an Orange Crush or ginger ale, and I'd just be smoking, and because I stole my parents' cigarettes, and then they found out. Oh, so the good times were over. They smoked actually L&M's and Kent with the micronite filter. I don't know if you know this, but micronite means asbestos, and sort of one of my little sadnesses in background was my dad died when I was 15, and he had lung cancer, and my mom had lung cancer. But anyway, they cut me off, thank God. And I didn't have a lot of income back then. I hadn't started babysitting yet. So I could return the 2-cent bottles and the 5-cent bottles. That was it. And so when they took away the cigarettes, I had to decide between bubble gum, which I also like very much, particularly Bazooka bubble gum, and cigarettes. And thank God I chose the gum. I'm trying to, it's never too far. It's, I don't chew in public. My husband says I look like a cow. So I try to keep it under wraps, but, yeah.
Okay. So the story was, I was expecting you to say, well, actually, here's the twist. I didn't really smoke at 5th grade, but here's something else that people, I'm taking it as the truth.
Yeah.
And look, I'm going to show 3 musicians, and it's as if they're triplets, but 2 of them are your favorite. Are actually, one is you, and 2 of them are your favorite artists. And of course, we're talking about exactly. Look, well, I mean, there was actually Rihanna behind you, but you love Cardi B and Lizzo, right?
I love Cardi B because she says went from making tuna sandwiches to making the news. I went from making tuna sandwiches to CoronaTV. I'm having a good day. And she says started speaking my mind and tripled my views. And I think everybody should do that. But Lizzo really does warm my heart. And what does she say? She says, hair toss, check my nails, baby, how you feel? Feeling good as hell. And that, Joseph, what you're doing, what I'm trying to do here today, we want everybody to be feeling good as hell.
Well, I mean, how could we not be feeling good as hell? That's what I call the voice of God. You're experiencing the voice of God right now. So, a little bit of narcissism goes a long way these days, as we've seen. But we're going to do something a little special in a few minutes. And you're a great sport for doing this. Also, because I think it's pushing the boundaries, it's pushing the limits, and it's showing what is really possible. We can give virtual real hugs. We can do anything, even with these restrictions. And so one of the things that you're going to do, which I think is amazing, is you're going to do a live set, a small set. And here's the thing. We've got a little bit of a studio audience waiting for you. But if you watching right now, if you actually want to be a part of the studio audience right now, people will be intimidated. You can go to bits.ly/CondonCorona, and you will be a part of a studio audience on two provisions. One, no stripping. So I better know you. If I don't know you, and I'm not going to let you on. And two is you have to laugh for two reasons. One, because Jane is brave, and two, because Jane is funny. So I'm going to give you a few minutes, if you like, to kind of pluck up the courage, go and type bit.ly/Condon Corona, and come and join us. We've got a few people already in our little studio audience. And I'm going to bring them on in just a moment. But before I do, Jane, I wanted to talk to you about something that it's weird. You talk about pain. I suppose to some people, pain is growing old or growing older. For many other people, ageism is a real pain point. The phrase aged out, I got accused of aging out last week, and I didn't like it for a moment, but I didn't take it personally, because you know what? I don't care what people say about me. I'll age out when I age out. I don't care if the hip needs to be replaced, but I am only as old as I feel, and I feel young, and I will always be young at heart. So is growing older a pain point for you? Is it in fact painful?
I have to tell you, each decade is, I read somewhere that you're going to turn 50 at some point, and I just went, that was probably my best decade. What's great about being older, you don't care what people think so much anymore. And when I get into my 60s, I'm like, oh my God, it's all about me now. It's my turn. And it's very freeing. It's just a great thing. So what was I trying to think? I have a few things in my act about it. I just sort of put them in lightly because it's where I am. So that's what I speak about. But what was it about the older people now? What is it? The older people now that, they're using medical marijuana because it's great for arthritis, great for glaucoma, and your grandkids will want to spend more time with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also talk about how, I think when you get older, you do get a little more forgetful. I say about how I'm standing at the top of the stairs going, what the heck am I doing up here? I don't want to go downstairs. I'm just going to come back up. I can't find my glasses. I can't find my keys, cup of coffee. It's on top of the car. It used to be, I could go to the mall, park the car, and not remember I left it. And now it's like, did I bring the kids? I'm doing everything I can to help myself. I take vitamin C, Dong Quai, Ding Dong, Booba. I exercise, I diet, I meditate. I still want to rip somebody's head off. And you know why the menopausal woman crossed the road? To kill the chicken. She just had it,
Well, I can't keep you to myself. So for those people, I think people might be a little bit intimidated, but you can actually join us right now by just going to bit.ly/Condon Corona. But if you don't, too bad, because the 5 of us are going to actually watch you in action. Let me do this so I can make you the star of the show. And you've got 4 of us for now. And we're going to ask you to take it away. Oh, you've got Bob. Say hello, Bob.
Hey, Bob.
There you go. I even unmuted. Very funny. Can't wait to hear the gig.
We got Tom.
Tom. Hey, Tom. Bob. Tom.
Hey, Jay.
And this is a different kind of set, because here you actually meet your audience beforehand. And then we've got Phil.
What's up, Jane?
Hi, nice to see you.
Good to see you.
This is great. Been a while.
Yeah, no, I'm so happy you're part of this.
Well, thanks for roping me into it.
Yeah, let's go, baby.
Well,
let's go.
You're either going to be thanking him or
Yes,
or doing a version of the menopausal. Why did the menopausal woman cross the road to kill Phil? But Jane,
I thought since your show, is about CoronaTV, that I'd start talking about the pandemic, because we're still in the middle of it. When will it end? I just remember back to mid-March when all the hoarding started of toilet paper, and I did not judge these people. I did not, because God knows I have toilet paper left over from 9/11. And I say to my son, I'm there, honey, mommy is just a junior hoarder. He said, Mom, you're so not a junior hoarder. You're an early onset hoarder. I'm just glad he got the funny gene, you know. So, and then some people out there in the real world, they say I have ADD. It's possible, but I am undiagnosed because I couldn't sit still for the test. And we do have OCD in my family, and I don't want to say who, but it rhymes with husband. Okay. And but I have a clean house. It's great. I mean, we've been washing our hands long time. Get on board, people. But getting back to ADD, see, I'm distracted. I got my own self off the topic. Okay. But the what was it? That the it's just, I don't want to be like this. But anyway, if a fly goes by, I'll be like Scooby-Doo. I'll be like, I'm actually looking at the flag in the background over there as I talk to you all now. Not only am I distracted, but I want to say the plus side, though. The plus side is I can laser focus. ADD people know this. We can laser focus and nobody can stop us. But the downside is the distractibility and the, well, sometimes I get things mixed up. I don't want to. I just do. And I will say things like, well, I wish I'd been there. I wish I'd been a fly on the ceiling. And I mean, I wish I'd been a fly on the wall, of course. Last week, I meant to say, don't bring a knife to a gunfight. Anybody knows that, right? Bob, Tom, Phil. Okay. Anybody knows that. But I said, you don't bring a nun to a gunfight. Also true, though.
That's true.
So I've been going for a lot of long walks with my best girlfriend, and I'm just so grateful to her, particularly right now. And I said to her, I said, you know what? You have been like a real dog biscuit to me. I meant a real treat, of course. So, and the last thing about that I want to share with you is this is a little embarrassing, but okay, so I'm talking with a friend about funeral arrangements because COVID, let's be real. And I said, look, I'm just throwing out ideas. I'm just freeballing here. And the instant I said it, I thought, oh no, Jane, that is so inappropriate. People from Greenwich are not allowed to talk that way. And I said, I'm thinking to myself, that is something a teenage boy might say, I'm freeballing. But a woman on Medicare shouldn't be saying, I'm freeballing. No, absolutely not. I think that's enough for right now. I mean, we can talk about my boys later if you want.
You don't even have to do this. You can actually.
Yeah, you can actually do it. Yeah.
Well, they're so hip. That's why they're.
Well, I mean, it must be, and I'll leave, I'll leave Tom and Bob and Phil on just for a few more moments, but see if they have a question to ask you. But it must be so challenging and foreign, alien, to have to deliver comedy in what is essentially, a conference call, a Zoom meeting, which is, and yet, I can tell you, for me, I see an innovator in front of me. I see someone who has courage, who is brave, who is not afraid to try out something new, maybe even try out new material, get immediate feedback from the audience. So I just want to take my hat off to you. And I'll have some follow-up questions, but I just want to see if anyone actually wants to ask you a question.
Well, I want you to know this is all new material since March. Just, you have to keep writing. It's pivot or die right now. Evolve or die in a lot of professions.
Well, I'll have some follow-up questions, but do any of you want to ask a question? Otherwise, I'll beat you out the studio and continue to hoard Jane for myself.
I want to start by saying a mother to boys has plenty of material.
Oh, yeah, no, really, they have been my single largest gold mine, to tell the truth. I have a whole chunk about them, but I didn't. I say I have two boys, otherwise everything is fine.
Well, being a boy, I think that's funny.
Oh yeah, no, they just they do challenge me. We were lucky enough to, they're up and out now. LA and New York. Came home for a couple of months. It was wonderful. They brought their girlfriends. I love the girlfriends, but I kept thinking, why is nobody getting married? Okay, where are my grandchildren? You know, I am getting so desperate for a grandchild. If I don't get one soon, I'm going to order one on Amazon. Okay. But anyway, they just I love them madly, really, but like nobody had told me the kids were forever. You know, I hadn't really. I thought it was going to be my turn. It's not like I'd get them to age 18, say goodbye, good luck, you know, don't get Mother's Day, bye-bye, bye-bye. You know, okay, it's Mommy's turn, bye-bye, bye-bye. But actually, it never ends. I love them and adore them, but I had no idea this was a lifetime commitment. You know, I think that's true for the dads, too. Just, but, I just want to tell you one boy story. Oh, I love this one. Just because I always thought I was going to have girls, and there's so much I don't understand about boys. Like, but why would anybody want to blow their nose in a boarding pass? Why?
and worst of it was actually a mobile boarding pass. So, that was the worst part.
Added a new layer. Thank you. I haven't.
You see, you're getting instant feedback right now.
I know. That is. I do miss the feedback. My actor writer son said, Mom, we were taught at NYU grad acting, you have to be able to act to a trash can, like get nowhere. If you're a pro, you can do it. It's much harder. It's just much harder. You know,
that's the question that I was going to ask. Jerry Seinfeld has gone on to small stages around the country to try out new stuff. And I'm just curious, you know, and he picks out the good stuff and leaves the bad stuff and goes from there. And I was curious how you are able to create new stuff and test it under these circumstances.
Hard, but the last 2 nights I was on 2 Zoom shows, and they had one night 18, one night 25 people, so I could see in the boxes. That was it was so satisfying to me. I got 2 new jokes, you know, like and I had one joke that didn't work. It's equally valuable to us to see what to cut out. You want to keep, you know, you want to separate the wheat from the chaff. But that's what I'm missing now. Is
you know what I think we can cut out. I think we can cut out Tom. Tom, we'll see you in the after show. We can cut out Bob. Bye, Bob. And you know, as for Phil, I mean, Phil, Jane wouldn't be here without you, but I'll see you in the after show as well. Thank you for coming on to our little audience. Yeah, I want you all to myself, Jane.
You got it.
If I may. So, you know, we were talking about courage and you know, and bravery, and I have to say, I've been so disappointed with SNL because I don't know what happened. I mean, I don't know if you know anything, but did they just give up? Could they not figure out how to lift us up during these dark times? They've just been off the air for months.
I'm kind of surprised myself. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there was a summer hiatus scheduled, but not this long. You know, it's but everybody I know is writing pandemic material. I'm sure they could too. You know, like one of my favorite things was I read. So I have this, you know, Zoom Facebook show about 4 o'clock funnies, and I read in a business magazine, Business Insider, that you could hire a llama for your show for $100. I thought this will be hysterical, you know, in one of your Hollywood Square boxes. And I went online. Now this was early April, so all of my jobs have gone poof. You know, all these nice theaters around the country, poof, gone. 1 week, totally gone. And so I went online to the little farm in California, and then I went into the llama's schedule. Early April, the llama was fully booked. Okay, comedians are out of work. The llama Was
Yeah, I mean,
and I just hope that llama didn't get the $1,200 stimulus check. Okay, that would upset me.
that's good material, I'm telling you. And actually, the I was here. Someone told me about it. It's actually it's called goat to meeting, and so the actual story. It's an amazing story. The story was I think it was like a petting zoo or some kind of a farm, and they also were faced with pretty much going out of business. And so at the time, all the rage was, being Zoom bombed. And so the whole idea is that you could get a goat to drop into your meeting, and so hence goat to meeting. But it's actually it's and it says, if the goat is not available, they reserve the right to substitute one of their other farm animals. But I would want a refund if I paid for the goat. God damn it!
When I saw the llama was busy, someone said to me, well, try to get a goat or a pig. And they're like, I have my heart set on the llama. You can't, these are not interchangeable, but whatever. Shigatagana, as the Japanese would say, it can't be helped. They're very accepting of their fate. Un me des.
So we've taken two Japanese sayings together, which is, it can't be helped when you find your purpose in life with a llama. And the rest is history. I'm going to play a little game with you, just a small little game, which is I always find a quote, and your quote is short and sweet, and you have to tell me who said it, knowing full well that you will not get it. So this is a fool's errand, and it's he who laughs lost.
Buddha, not Buddha. Okay.
I mean, close.
Buddha. If not Buddha, not Jesus.
No, I just completely threw you a red herring there because I'm mean. It's actually, have you heard of Mary Pettibone Poole?
Yes. I didn't know she said that. Oh, I missed
and I loved it because she was a woman who I think we all can look up to and look towards, an innovator, a fighter, swimming against, swimming against the current, cutting against the grain, and creating these new opportunities, in particular for women. And she wrote A Glass Eye at a Keyhole, I believe, in the 1930s. I just found it so interesting to connect the dots about, you would never have thought it would have been her to say this, but what a powerful idea.
Yes, thank you. I'm going to put it into several of my lectures. I have a How to Get to Happy lecture. He who laughs, laughs. It's so perfect. Because I read the Mayo Clinic studies, it increases, it boosts your immune system, releases endorphins. Laughter can be really helpful. I always say half of the pay in my job when I'm working with my fellow comedians is I get to hear their comedy, and it makes me laugh. It gives me great joy to see them.
And it was so interesting to me, though, that when you spoke about the camaraderie, the community, and maybe this is just very shrewd editing. But there, I've had two experiences, I guess, as a viewer, in terms of being, I don't want to say shocked, but surprised in terms of what happens behind the scenes. One of them is, the cooking shows, right? The Hell's Kitchen, when you see a much more coarse and a rough, a much more street smart, artist in the kitchen, tattooed, chain smoking, probably since 5th grade. And then the other one was Last Comic Standing. I couldn't stop watching, but it almost seemed, the notion of the sad clown, that comedians were very serious and very competitive, and only smiling when they were on camera, but when they were off camera, and that's why I was asking you the question, is that just smart editing? Because that's not the story you said, which I feel better about.
Well, maybe I surround myself with the good comedians, but mostly unlike actors and actresses, we're not competing for the same part. Most of us have our own lane, we have our own voice, and it can take more than 10 years to find your own voice. You go all around Robin Hood's barn. You know, I tried to be a little of Rita Rudner, but she dresses better than I do. I tried to be a Joan Rivers, but I'm not quite as and then you find that your voice pretty often is you. Maybe you plus 10%. Nobody pays to see normal. But like, because we're each in our own lane, do you know what I mean? Like it's, you know, some people are right for some shows and not right for other shows. And just, I don't know. I'm happy for my friends when they get ahead, because when they get ahead, then I can get their shows. No, okay, let me see. Oh, it's actually awful. I'll give you an example. We can be awful people. A good friend of mine, Marion Groden, got breast cancer, and she's staying there with some other women comedians, and we all said, "Damn, now Marion's going to get all the breast cancer fundraisers." That's about as awful as we get. I've found a lot of wonderful people who often came up from tough circumstances, you know, and I have nothing but admiration for them. So yes, we are competitive. Of course we're competitive. We're little human being mammals, but more often with ourselves. I kind of like the track people. Don't they say they run against themselves? You know, unless they're throwing an elbow. Okay, so then.
Yeah. or golfers apparently, but now apparently. So this is interesting to me, which is you know, when we Phil actually made a great comment. He said playing the suburbs has a new meaning now. You know, in terms of this was a little private Westport meets Greenwich in a battle of Fairfield County, but. You know, when I reached out to you, you said this to me, which I thought was very, very sweet. You turned around and you said, my goal is for our show to be half as good as the Bruce Turkel show. And look, I mean, you know, there's nothing special about Bruce. He impersonates Scooby-Doo. He swings Sweet Caroline. But there was something about him that you really loved, which is that quote. Right. What was that? Hold on. No, hold on. Let's see if he'll tell us what that quote was. Bruce, what was that quote again?
I don't have any idea. I just made it up at the moment.
Fan, Bruce.
So Jane will tell you.
Oh my God, this is great. Don't be a bore. Get to the chorus.
Don't bore us. Get to the chorus.
Yeah, but I can't take credit for that. That was Berry Gordy from Motown.
Yeah, Bruce. So I learned it from you, but what a very, very valuable thing. Actually, I've shortened it to get to the chorus.
You're right. Come on already.
I can be a bit wordy in my comedy. I find the more I do it, I cut out the words. You know, I get rid of the spare words. But
always remember that brevity is the heart of levity.
Also,
see?
Yes, very, very, you guys were great together. I just thought, I was still like, wow, this is a great show. So that's for me.
Yeah. Brevity is the brevity. I'm writing that down. I have to tell you that you know, I love the time with Bruce. I'm loving the time with you. And this episode today, you know, I just pulled out all the celebrities: Morgan Fairchild, Bruce Turkel. I mean, you know, Jane Condon.
Oh, here again, boy.
It ain't
you know,
over. You may still, we may still, you know.
I got nothing else. I'm empty now. I'm done. In fact, I think I'm going to take myself off and I'll let Bruce and Jane talk. So, you know, I'm going to go make myself a sandwich. You know, so anyway, this has been Joseph Jaffe, and I'm just kidding. They're back as well. But yeah, Bruce, it was great. I want to make a little admission to you, which I never told you. I never got the chance to tell you on our show. But this is the spirit of Corona TV. So I happen to know that you were going to keynote this year in Lima in Peru. Correct or not correct?
Yes, that's true. Keyword is was.
And do you know how I know this?
You know, I'm sure it's going to have something to do with the NSA, and I'm going to be just totally freaked out when you tell me.
So I was up against you for that opportunity.
No.
I had never heard of you before, and when I didn't get the gig, I politely asked who got it, and they told me it was you, and I went and checked you out and just fell in love with you, and and I just wanted to meet you when I started Corona TV, and I'm so happy I did, and I never told you on the show.
No, that's crazy, actually. That's very funny. And of course, I didn't get to go. So there must be some karmic payback there on some weird level.
No, I think they certainly made the right choice because I was just doing it for Machu Picchu, to be honest.
Well, you will love this. They told me about this event and I wanted to go. And I've been all over South America, but I've never actually been there. And so I said, we need to really lock down the dates because I'd like to go to Machu Picchu either before or after. They said, well, we are taking a group of our executives to Machu Picchu. I said, well, we could put on a special event just for the C-suite folks, and I would go along and participate. And they said, you would do that? Really? So it was just getting better and better. And
I'm prepared because of our friendship now, Bruce, that if you need someone to tag along with you to, I don't know, hold your bags or, be a second or...
How's your Spanish?
Not great, but I can fake it till I make it.
No, okay. So that's not going to do it. How's your cocoa leaf chewing? I'm not so sure I want to do that. Maybe you'll do that for me.
For you, I'll do anything. So... Well, Bruce, I wanted you. I'm so glad that you just came and said hi again after all that, and that's why I felt comfortable to share with you that the organizers of this conference, as soon as things get back to normal, if you're watching, rehire the man, but just remember that his magnanimous offer with Machu Picchu, it now has a little asterisk next to it, but he'll still do it for you. But Bruce.
Picchu. I've been to Machu Picchu and I slept in the ruins. And it is one of my 2 favorite places on earth. So you're right to want to go there. It's pretty magical. Hiram Bingham of Yale rediscovered it in 1911. You look from the bottom of the mountain up at this whole civilization, you cannot see it. You just can't see it. And then you get up there and you see all these ruins and you hear the Urubamba River going by down below. It was very magical. So I would definitely, the 2 of you should be a tag team there.
We'll go together.
You know what, Jane, I think you might have to join us. We're already planning the entire itinerary, but I think, look, if there's a common thread, and Bruce, if you are around, we're going to go into the Zoom after show in about 10 minutes or so. Jane may treat us to some more comedy. We're not sure. It depends how nicely we ask. But I'm gonna put you back into the green room, but I just thought it would be awesome for you, and thank you for being such a good sport today.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you, Bruce.
See you now. Thanks.
No more surprises, Jane. But I do have. This would be. I told you it would be fun. But I have one more question for you, which is even the example with Bruce today. Just being able to have him, zoom in or I suppose we could call it goat in or llama in, for us. There are certain things that are possible now that never were possible, even in the old analog world where we got on planes, where we arrived at gigs. So I would love to hear your thoughts and your vision on what do you see the future look like for comedians and for performances post-COVID?
Well, the very first thing that happened that kind of struck me after the pandemic, besides putting together my show, was that I got started being asked to do West Coast shows. because I didn't have to travel there. Now, the only drawback is a 7:30 show there is 10:30 our time. I do remember I got asked to do a birthday party out there, and I thought, I haven't done a birthday party in 10 years. I don't do birthday parties anymore. And this was in San Francisco. And then she said how much she was going to pay, and I thought, I can do a birthday party. Because what takes time is customizing it, to that person. And I've just had many more. And then one comedy festival I was supposed to be in, the Burbank Comedy Festival. I really entered it because I have an LA boy. I just wanted to visit him and to spy on him, say hello. And they went virtual. And then it was great because they had all these panels. I met all these people. I made a new friend in Atlanta, Georgia. I got to know some of the East Coast comedians who are out there too, and the West Coast ones. And so it's a whole new, I think the very first show, one of the first shows I got to do out West was Brian Kiley, who's the head monologue writer for Conan. And he was having a show that mercifully started West Coast time at 5:30, 8:30 my time. No problem. So I think the audience has broadened for comedians. I know my friend Andy Engel, Manhattan Comedy School. He's getting people watching his show from around the world. It just, and what's interesting about like this show or going onto Facebook videos or YouTube or whatever is people can watch them at their leisure. People like to watch their entertainment when they want to. I mean, I'm very grateful to Tom and Bob and Phil and particularly Bruce for coming in on their time, but like people like their entertainment when they want it, and we all know we have down times in this pandemic, but you can get yourself back up if you watch something interesting, if you do something outside of yourself. And what the comedians I love are like people who will show me a slice of their world, of their life. And it's, we've been through tougher things before. I mean, the whole goal is stay healthy, but it really does help to forget for a few minutes. We have to bring down the stress levels, and I think I love your haha logo. I think that's hilarious on it. I don't know where you found that, but that's.
Well, I think I might be getting a cease and desist at some point because I found it on these, on my new private, I call it my private clip art gallery known as Google.
Yeah.
One night only performing. This is only for you. I will never repeat it again, probably because the lawyers will be after me.
Right. But it's wonderful. It's really wonderful to. Yeah.
Well, I think you kind of answered, the bigger question, but I'll let you expand on it, which is, we always hear that phrase, too soon. That when we're going through tough times, when is the right time? When is it the appropriate time to inject humor? And of course, there are two types of humor, right? There's just jokes or levity, and then there is the ability to actually tackle COVID or deal with the pandemic as a subject matter. How do you find the balance, the ampersand, right? How do you find the and in there?
Well, I do know in the Burbank Comedy Festival, they said it sort of had enough of pandemic humor. But going back to other big events that have happened that have caused much distress, comedians can get in trouble if we go in too soon. I love Gilbert Gottfried. I don't know if you follow him at all. And
yeah,
he was the voice of Affleck, Affleck. And he lost that whole gig because he went in too early after the Japanese tsunami. And he said, well, but this is so Gilbert. He said, well, if you lost your girlfriend, you can just wait for the next wave and find another one. Affleck, particularly their Japanese customers, didn't see the humor in this, and they cut him loose, and that was really sad. But there was a wonderful little SNL sketch after 9/11. By the way, David Letterman was the first to come back of all the late night hosts after 9/11. Mm-hmm. You live close enough. I live close enough. Greenwich lost 20 people. We felt that scar come right across our chest from 9/11. And Letterman went back on first. But SNL was that Saturday. And I remember Mayor Giuliani going on with Lorne Michael, who's not often seen in front of the camera. And Lorne Michael said to Mayor Giuliani, who was known as the nation's mayor, I think back then, he said, what do you think, Mr. Mayor? Too soon to make people laugh? And Rudy Giuliani said something about, well, why start now? I'm not doing it justice, but he meant your old show was never funny. Why start now?
Yeah.
Well, it's a tightrope, and I think it's according to your persona. Like Gilbert is a more aggressive out there. Of course, he's going to be on the front line persona, and Colbert now he'll be more on the front line. You know, I think it never hurts to hear a little humor in the privacy of your home. You know, we're all inching out. I think pandemic stuff is being totally done now. I don't think there's any need to wait. You know, what's actually interesting about it is when people have a common experience like this, it's going to become a universal. I mean, we're all in this. So if you can make a joke about it, everybody's going to listen.
Yeah, and look, I have to say that even though we had a lot of stuff in today's show, I think Tom Morris in the background, he said, couldn't get the Llama, but got Bruce, Jane, and Morgan Fairchild. That's the modern world as we never expected. I think that's a really great way to sum up the show. But it's so funny to me because, you know, my takeaways from today, and I'm trying to remember them so I don't forget them because they're precious. One is, you know, when you spoke about finding your voice, the voice that you find, and I think, and I'll go find it, you said your voice is you. You know, your voice is uniquely you. That is the voice you have to find.
Connecticut mom. That's me. I'm an uptight Connecticut mom. Period. Okay.
Well, you know, wait, you're a mom? No, I'm no, I'm joking. But that was one thing. The other thing, and I think this comes back to, you know, the award that you won. And, you know, the Spirit Award, and what's so amazing about this is you shared it with Carol Burnett, is that you fight the good fight on behalf of women and women in comedy. And I thought, you know, it wasn't a coincidence. It's exactly why I found the quote from Mary Pettibone Poole, because even though we were talking about comedy, we were talking about something else that is so important and applicable on so many levels. And then the third takeaway for me was this idea of courage and bravery. Not necessarily, and sometimes it backfires, like with Gilbert Gottfried, and you know, and sometimes the mighty SNL say, we're just going to wave the white flag, we're out. But you're in, and you did a set for us today, and I appreciate it, and I appreciate you. And you know, Jane, it's been a real pleasure, and I just want to say, let's leave on a very serious note, which is Jane is trying to get to 5,000 friends on Facebook, and so please friend her on Facebook, mention Corona TV, and she will immediately unfriend you. But
thank you.
But I have to tell you, I'm at 4,997, and in fact, I've been at 5,000 for a while. And I'm going to tell you I'm going to share with you a little insight about what happens when you get to 5,000.
What happens?
Well, I tell you what happens. You don't really see what's happening when you're on 3,000 or 2,000 or 4,000. But when you hit 5,000 and the next day you log in and you see you're on 4,998. You know that you pissed off at least 2 people. And that means you're doing your job well. So that's what I look at every day. And when it drops to 1 or 2 or 3 or 4,996, that's when I know I'm being brave and courageous and pushing. And that is what you're going to get to very soon. And it is a glorious day when it comes. And I think, it was so profound what I just said to Jane, that she, you know, has frozen herself in just, you know, pure joy to immortalize this moment and keep this moment forever. But she doesn't need to, because we're going to go over to the oops, that's not the one I wanted. This is the one I wanted, which is to go solo again and say, we had a little bit of everything today. I hope you appreciated Jane as much as I did. We're going to move on over to the Zoom after show. You can be a part of it as well. Just come out and hang out with us, because you know what? Life is too serious sometimes to not be able to just take life a little less seriously. I'll be back tomorrow with Jeff Ramsey. Hope you enjoyed this. I just want to thank you so much, and see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Corona TV with your host, multiple author and global keynote speaker, Joseph Jaffe. Corona TV is the show about hope, positivity, optimism, and if there's time left over, a little bit of marketing. The after show on Zoom starts right now at bit.ly/Corona TV After Show. If you like the show, tell a friend or two. Please subscribe to the show at coronatv.show. And if you want to get inside news, previews of upcoming guests, and much more, text Corona TV to 66866 or visit josephjaffe.com/subscribe to sign up for the show's newsletter.
And despite the best ministrations of your wife, you still look ugly.